I welcome you. We have a very, very interesting session, so I'm really glad that so many of you are joining us. And our topic is iconic or scalable, an digital out-of-home industry update. And hopefully some of you joined us this morning when we were talking about, iconic and showed you some examples, from Asia mainly and North America. But our world is a bit different. We're here in Germany, we're here in Europe, and all of the guys sitting here, you're really busy with digital out-of-home, but our canvas, your canvas you're working on is standard 16:9 more or less, and it just works what it is. So I'm really glad to have Lars Peters here from Ströer, to have Tim Markstein from Vista, then we have Damien, thank you for jumping in, Damien Rodgett from Pilot, and we have Tizian Hosch from Hi. So welcome all of you. And just a short introduction. Ströer, how many screens do you currently have?
Owning screens around 8,000 in Germany, mainly train stations, shopping malls, and a lot on the street.
And most of them 9 to 16 and a few LEDs, right?
Yeah, 9 to 16, 16 to 9, a few LEDs, and also some iconic. So I wouldn't say it's all, it's more an and, but we come to that later.
Tim, you don't own a single screen, but you're from Vista Media, so you're really... did I say Tim? Sorry, Ravi.
I jumped in for Tim.
Sorry. Ravi, thank you. Ravi, thank you for joining us. And so you don't have your own screens, obviously, but what is your portfolio? How many screens are you managing or at least telling?
In the DACH region, we serve 35 media owners for connecting them to the right audience or the right media buyers in the end. And it's about 40,000 screens in DACH we can offer via our DSP, or
40,000
platform. Yeah.
And that's all color flavors,
all color
ratios,
flavors, from iconic to in-store to retail media to fitness studios. So everything you can imagine, every venue type is covered.
Also small screens, or do you just 32 inch and larger?
The smallest ones are maybe that in the waiting areas of doctors' offices. So this is maybe the smallest one, yes.
But I think that's 32 or so, right?
Yeah.
That's because I believe digital out-of-home needs to have a certain size, because then otherwise we can talk about retail media or how it all started, page trace and everything. Oh Jesus, that was difficult times at that time, and the audience it's more a one-to-one thing then.
Yeah.
Damien, you don't own a screen at all, right? At least not a digital out-of-home screen, but you're managing some, right?
We don't own the screens. We build screens.
You build screens?
We install screens. We're not a numbers company, so we can't compete with Ströer. We don't have thousands of screens, but we have contacts with thousands of people every day with our iconic installations. So I think I'm the guy here that has installed the single most the biggest screens here, but we don't have the amount of screens that you guys have.
But Damien, you know all the pain points of installing and operating screens, so that's a good thing.
Sure.
That's a good thing. Tizian, Hi is, you're really having a different approach to digital out-of-home. You're using the shop window, and so how many screens are you currently out?
So we are right now with about 3,000 screens, and every screen is in a 9 to 16 format. So primarily we are working with shop windows, but also Schindler network, for example, inside elevators, of course residential, but also the offices. We have our outdoor network at the Kurfürstendamm with the showcases. Like we have 3 screens on one screen on every side, and as well, we have point-of-sale screens, which is a bit more focus on retail inside the stores with smaller screens at the cash counter.
Mm-hmm. Digital out-of-home is really, or was for a long time, national campaigns only. But we see also more and more local players are looking at this one. Lars, maybe to start with, Ströer became famous with national advertisement, right? National campaigns, that's your strengths. You have thousands of screens out there, but you also have a big local sales force. So could you help us a little bit, what is the share of national? Not on very precise, but just giving an idea, or how relevant is local versus or regional versus national campaigns?
This is really depending on the media. Yes, we are here on a digital congress, but still most of our advertisement totems out are analog, right? We also sell typical advertisement on the transportation companies, like putting stickers on buses, all of those stuff. And this is historically really a local topic. Someone who's putting, gluing a complete bus or a train or whatever, this is a local customer using that. And yes, with digital, the nucleus of our digital was was the InfoScreen in Munich, having just the InfoScreen installations in some cities. There it was also a local and regional topic. But then starting with at that time the out-of-home channel, now station video, we started to do digital as a national product. And yes, the sales there is primary on national things. But as you said, there's quite a workforce working on local and regional customers. What for us is really a priority. I mean, this is really where we also staff up the people, because on national customers you never know what happens. I mean, I can be open to that. There was, I think, a big German car company having some problems with some measurements on their topics. So that national company just decided, like, okay, from today to tomorrow we stop all of our marketing. And then there are 7 digits gone in that moment. This is not happening to you with local customers and regional customers. Even if you lose 1 or 2 or 3 or even 50 local customers, you find 50 new ones. So there we really go the hard approach to have a high number of local and regional customers, but it's really depending on the media. It's on gluing, so on paper is more than on digital, because digital is still a topic where you activate in a short term of time a big audience. And this is something different on those local and regional customers who are more working on getting to know. I mean, a driving school or a fitness studio wants to be known locally over a long time, and they do not have these, I have now a new product and I have to place the product. So it's different customers with different approaches, so also different media.
Well, historically, they come from Yellow Pages, right? I mean, that's what they used to. You know, once a year you spend the money, and then you're always, you know, AAA, the first one in the Yellow Pages, and that's where people find you.
And really, some are still doing that, right? So we have to work on that.
How about Vista Media? How about you guys? Are you mainly national campaigns, or have also, you know, local, regional advertisers really, you know, understood? Because for them it seems, you know, programmatic everything seems to be still a difficult thing, or?
Yeah, we do exactly the other way around. So we are unleashing the networks to audience-based or location-based buying. Yeah, so for instance, a car company who wants to do advertise on 600 different for 600 different car dealerships localized. So we just see which inventory across publishers, across venue types is buyable. So and then we do this kind of use cases a lot. So with specific budget, localized budget per dealer around a specific different radius around this venues or dealers. Yeah. This is mostly what you do with the variety of screens.
Tizian, you started in Berlin, but now you have a national network, or you are working on this one, building national network. So historically, I think there were more local clients or so, but now is it a national brands, or even you're getting campaigns from social media or so? So what is the main buyers of your network?
So the main buyers are agencies, of course. This is where we took the focus on in these last 2 years. But right now we see more increasing business with also clients from like the European countries, also across the European borders, like Canada and the US states and China, of course. Like also the Asian market is a very big market. So this is where new revenue can come from. This is I would say primary for the programmatic way of booking, because this is like where our DSPs have like our SSPs has the connection to international DSPs, like connection to partners like Ravi is, for example, where completely different clients from borders come from.
That's a great thing about programmatic, right? It's open for everyone. It's good.
Absolutely.
Good. We're at the DSS and sustainability, green signage plays a big role. By definition, everything you are doing, even as Vista Media, not everything is perfectly green, you know, let's face it. You are using cloud computing, we are all using high brightness screens, LED, it's not perfect. So Lars, you invested heavily into you know, becoming more sustainable, not you personally, but your LEDs. Your garden is now green, so you told me about that.
Yes, I got my Rasen last week.
That's good. So, but it's really about, you know, are you replacing LEDs, or are you choosing hardware different to what you did in the past, and are you operating your screens differently? Do you have more sensors? Are you adapting to brightness levels or so? So what are the levers a digital home company has nowadays to become more sustainable?
Okay, on that question, we could spend the rest of the day. But no, I mean, the technique, especially the LED technology, is really developing fast. So yes, we buy today different products than we would have bought 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. But now, having the decision, there's already an existing installation. Do we do a reinvestment to be more green? Is sometimes only the short step, because I mean, you're throwing away hardware that is still working. So on some parts, we are looking for a second-hand market to place those products, which is not easy in electrics and electronics, but we really focus on all decisions to really check okay, where's the amount of CO2 and some other numbers. Do we do a reinvestment or do we continue with the existing technique? What we invest a lot is more sensoric, to use a fan less, to have a better adjusted brightness sensors and those things. This is a topic we really invest daily. Christian was having a speech yesterday about that in the other room. So there's still a way to go, and we try to do our part. And what we really see is that for the brands who do, especially the national and international brands, the topic of the footprint gets more and more important. We saw the topic with scope 1, 2, 3. So for the future, and I mean in scope 3 is also the advertisement you do with your company, and there we are. I mean, with the whole industry, we work on that to have an optimized footprint on the advertisement contexts. And on that, we all invest a lot of energy. And we have some customers who clearly say they want to have a zero CO2 advertisement. For those, we have some iconic installations, I would say, with a lot of additional installation, like green installations in the cities, so where the air is taken care of more, where we use even solar. And yes, solar cannot power a complete LED board, I know that, but you can add up things. So it's a topic for the brands, especially for the national and international brands, and we are working on that and try to get better from day to day.
Vista Media, it's a little bit easier because you don't operate screens, but do you have also initiatives, which that you're net zero, or at least you're working with renewable electricity in your data centers or so?
Yeah, our offer is to combine really green media types as a curated deal, and place them to our demand side. The second thing is that we are also globally contracted with Scope 3 to offer really this compensation value. So within the media buying, in the same time, you can already compensate your CO2. Yeah.
Damien, the LEDs you're operating in Hamburg, I think, or so. Did you integrate sensors? Are you changing brightness? So what kind of technology you're using there to make them as sustainable as possible?
Auto dimming has been there for a long time. We've been doing that from day one. That was part of or was the reason why the screens were actually allowed to be built in the first place. So you couldn't have a screen these days that didn't auto dim. That's part of the planning permission that you need to apply for.
But often only at installation, right? I mean, I've seen so many screens where people at installation they look at it and then they forget about it, and then there's no auto dimming anymore. It's full power.
Yeah, well, we have backup mechanisms now that check if the auto dimming on the hardware side is working. If it doesn't work on the hardware side, we can adjust it on the software side. So there's a backup solution to that. But our customers are the property owners, and they have an issue with cost through
they have to pay for it.
Price of electricity. So there's the issue not just of CO2; it's an issue of actually saving money in most cases. When we had the German initiative of having to shut down screens between 10 o'clock in the evening and 6 o'clock in the morning, we switched off all of our LED screens, and we had to communicate what that really meant in terms of switching off. Switching off for us was just turning to black. Yeah. And turning to black meant that the power supplies were still running. So if you have a screen, a 130 square meter screen running 24/7, and you turn to black for 8 hours a day, you're still using about 8,000 to 10,000 euros worth of electricity just to deliver a black screen. So they're the hard facts, and you have this discussion with your customers about how do you save 10,000 euros. So what other sensors, what other technology is there that would allow us to switch off the screen? That happened to the LCD business as well. LCD is even worse because when you turn off
it's still 100%, doesn't matter. The backlight's
LCD, it's still delivering 100% of the power. So We had those discussions, and there are some solutions on the market, but physically turning off a big LED screen is difficult. You have power surge issues, you have to go back to the power supplies, you need to speak to electricians, you need to figure out how do you switch on simultaneously 160 power supplies without having a massive surge, over and under surge. So these are issues that we've been dealing with for the first time, really, because power supply and power costs never really been an issue. We have the same issue with clients that want to be CO2 neutral. That's another issue completely. But these are the things we have to deal with on a daily basis. Yeah.
Tizian, how about you? You have 3,000 screens, more or less, in 3,000 locations, maybe 2,000 locations, but you have basic one screen per location. And it's not only you, but to be honest, from time to time you see them running, even when the store is closed or so. But how do you manage them? Do you manage brightness? Do you turn them off at night? So what is your strategy?
Yeah, definitely. Auto dimming is also something we implemented. I think since the beginning of Hi. Of course, like if the sun is shining, the screen has to fight a little bit against the sun, so you need to have it a little bit more brighter. But if it's getting dark outside, to be honest, the maximum of brightness would be really annoying also for the people, because these screens are made for fighting against the sun. So auto dimming is definitely something. Screens that are more in darker locations or something. Depending on weather, on sun, and kind of these factors. As well, we are also working with a partner where we can compensate and be more CO2 neutral. But at the end, I also think that we can still do and work and think about new different ways with the IDO, for example, pushing this topic much more, trying to find a solution for all publishers together, and maybe there's something in a few weeks or months where we can sit together again and talk about it.
Yeah, but it's a perception, even if you turn it off at night, and it's a perception in the public, which is very different, to be honest, because they see a bright screen, and bright screen shouts electricity, so that makes it difficult, and sometimes only one screen needs to be, not working properly, and then it, comes back to everyone, because the general public doesn't make any difference if it's a Ströer screen or a high screen, to be honest, I think that's something where the industry really need to work on, and we have now more and more shop window screens, not only from you guys and other vendors, just from brands, and they leave them running 24/7 or full brightness, everything. We have a new Chinese next to our office, big automotive brand, they put in 10 screens and they run in full power 24/7, And I went inside, said, guys, don't you want to change that? And they said, no, we're Chinese, we always have to be, we're always open. I said, okay, welcome to our world. That's it. So talking about shop windows, that was interesting. Location where in the past nobody really believed in it. Then you guys came and said, the shop window is the next place, because brands in the past or retailers never really wanted to share their shop window with third parties. So you came and you proved in a certain way that it works. So what is the success behind it? How do you convince retailers to give away some of their precious real estate and share this with you? Probably not only the money. The money definitely plays a role, but
definitely money definitely plays a role. But if you look at some shop windows, they worked since years, and with different partners where they had stickers or something I don't know, some marketing stickers and kind of that's where different brands made their advertising in their shop windows, and so most of them, they really think the idea is pretty interesting to not have the completely shop window full with these different stickers and brands. Just have one screen that shows completely different advertisers in a row. So this is one thing interesting for them. Also, a screen looks nice, looks like a TV in the public room. So for them, it's kind of cool. For advertisers, it's interesting because at the beginning it was more interesting for advertisers having the products inside the retail stores. Now it's also with programmatic. The shop window is also interesting because if you work with audiences, you can see that you almost reach any audiences, because almost anyone is walking around at one of these screens by a day or by a week. So you can reach almost every target group, which makes it interesting for programmatic again.
Do you see more potential to all of you putting screens in shop windows in high streets which are pretty dead, or is it more in living quarters where you have some kiosks or so? So where I think you're not. I'm not sure you're not putting them in high street because you cannot get contracts there or because there's no business case. But I think you're focusing more on these living quarters, right?
Yeah, definitely. We are looking for high frequency locations because we are also thinking about the impression value, that you have more impression on a screen, and the whole network will be more interesting if you have more impression. We'll be also be more green if you look at the stats impression to CO2. But I think at the end, if you want to have a digital out-of-home network, which will be completely for national campaigns in Germany, you should also go into smaller cities, smaller, maybe these streets that are not also not that high frequency. But at the beginning, especially if you start into a new city expanding, you should absolutely took the high frequency spots.
Mm-hmm. High frequency, Stör, you're the master of high frequencies, train stations. Digital performance train station has changed a lot, right? From cross-platform projection many moons ago, which I think still the most green solution out there. Looking at to hundreds, not hundreds, but dozens of screens in train stations. So and now you even have separate iconic ones, so like special sized LEDs. Is this a mix you're looking at, or is it that you just cannot grow, or you don't want to grow anymore, or why do you place so many different touch points there, or is it just the advertisers love it? To have 16 to 9, 9 to 16, a 3-sided LED or so. So what is the trend there?
Okay, I mean, it's partly based on what we are allowed to do. This is always what we shouldn't forget. We are in Germany. I think that was also your introduction. There's countries with amazing installations, but this is nearly impossible in Germany because of governmental permissions and so on. In my case, I mean, I'm coming from ECE Flat Media, so we started with the business in mall video. So yes, we were thinking to install 9 to 16 as well, but then we realized, no, we are in a shopping mall. People there's their exit ways when there's a fire and those things. So we started with screens under the ceiling, only because of the reason there was no other positions to install our screens. So I would say in a lot of places, it's the topic: what is allowed, what is possible, and what does it cost. This is also the point. I mean, you can make amazing installations, but the investment is so high that you will never get the money back. We know some of those installations in Germany. And so I would say we are really pushed from the possibilities we have, and on the other side, from what the customers would like us to have on the street as contact point. And I would say the topic of measurements, of aspect ratios and so on, got a little bit less important with the programmatic selling, because there we are talking with media agencies who also are used to have online advertisement. And an online advertisement, maybe you can help me, for sure there are 60, 70 different formats. I mean, skyscrapers, these whatever, I don't have the names for that. So I think the topic of formats, of aspect ratios is getting less and less important. Also when you see all the possibilities with the new products from Adobe and other companies and the AI, it starts to be, I don't want to say easy is always sounding bad for the people who have to do it with their hand, but it's getting easier to adapt different formats. So I think format is not so much a topic anymore. It's mainly what are we allowed to do and what we are not allowed to do, and how much do we have to invest in this. This is pushing us in different directions.
It's mostly the only way to grow further in several cities, also in our region, especially. When you put the screen behind a window, it's a totally different legal situation. So this is maybe the way to grow into blind spots so far. That it's what we like and our clients is looking for, to do storytelling on different screens. And I think, as you mentioned, the technical thing like responsive design on 100 screen sizes for one campaign is doable with technology.
Is it doable? I mean, the technology is there, but you still need approval. And you're from Pilot, creative agency. Getting approval, I think it's very difficult if you just press AI, or? It's impossible.
It's not really on the table at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, we're having discussions in every German city about what size of screen we can put into a window. In Hamburg, at least, because every federal state is different, every borough is different. In terms of planning permission, what is allowed, but typically in Germany, you can install a window-facing screen that's under 1 square meter.
Yeah.
So it's a 55 square inch screen that you can install. There are some exceptions. You can install a 75 inch screen. Maybe with some exceptions, you'd have to ask your planning permission officer in your local district if that would be okay. But what we get excited about is about bigger screens, and big is an issue, especially with media agencies and with customers. They like big. So in terms of iconic installations, the bigger the better. And everything in between is not really possible in Germany in a public space. So if you're in a private domain, shopping centers are an exception, maybe airports are an exception. But in the public domain, installing larger screens that have a face to the customer is still an issue above 75 inches. So that's why the iconic displays are becoming more interesting in Germany, because creative agencies and media agencies and customers can do bigger things and more impressive things. And to be honest, size is everything. So if you have a 200 square meter screen as opposed to a 100 square meter screen, the chances are Apple, big clients will say, we'll go for the bigger one, right? Because they're not going to do 100 campaigns in Germany or 1,000 campaigns. They're going to do one campaign. Maybe it's a big launch campaign for a new product. They're doing it worldwide. I love your picture earlier of where all the big iconic installations are. They want one in Berlin. They want one maybe in Munich, maybe in Hamburg. But that's it in Germany. And they want to do it big and as big as possible. And that is, at the moment, not possible in Germany. It's not physically possible, although the money's there. We get asked to install screens temporarily for a month from customers that are willing to spend $1 million a month on a campaign if we have the right screen. We don't have the screen. I mean, you get probably similar requests from customers that say, where can we run our 1 month campaign? Ideally over a corner with forced perspective, because we really love that. And here's the cash. We want to, next week we're going to run the campaign. Show me, send me a list of all the locations where we can do this. And you go, well, sorry, we're not in that situation at the moment. We'd love to build these big screens, but mostly because of planning permission, it's not happening at the moment, and it might take a little longer than it would have done in the past if we hadn't had this whole issue about light emission and about CO2. But I think that's going to slow down that progress in terms of iconic installations in Germany at the moment.
So Germany is really a standardized network country and not so much iconic.
I would agree with that,
yeah. But it seems like most of you can make good money with that, right? I mean, just providing standardized thing. And for Vista, it's fantastic. You need standards, right? For programmatics, that's absolutely relevant. Good. Yeah.
But allow me, I mean, it's also a little bit, Germany is from the geographically structure different to a lot of different countries, right? I mean, if you look at France, if you have some big screens in Paris, you reach 50% of the people living in France. And this you can do in several countries. In Germany, it's not that case.
In UK, I think it's 80% of digital out of home just in London.
Yes.
That's basically everything. It's you're in London or that's it.
Yeah. This is why national is in Germany really a topic, because most of the people are not really living in the top 5 cities. They're distributed over the country. And to reach them, you need a national-wide network.
Yeah. Cool. Fantastic. Good. We're running out of time, and I think you're all hungry now for the lunch break. So thanks to all of you, and hope to see you soon. Enjoy the lunch. Thank you.
Thank you.